Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 523 at scavengerlife.com.
Hello, Ryan. If this sounds different, it's because after hundreds and hundreds of episodes,
523 episodes,
we purchased a special mic.
Yep, it's a podcasting mic.
Yep.
And we've used them in the past for jobs, and we just never even bought one, so here we are.
Yep. We went to B&H in New York City. Anyone that knows, it's like a cool little...
it's big.
Audio and video place that we've been to many times, and you get to touch everything and ask people that know what they're talking about. So
we were like, we need this microphone for our podcast.
What kind of mic is this?
It's a Yeti Blue.
Yeah, by Blue. Yep, cool.
Yeah, it's a cool mic.
And Phil says, our coffee partner, said thank you for all the orders last week. He is roasting. He's the original roaster, but while we're gone, he is roasting and bagging and shipping. I don't know how he's doing it all, but...
he's getting it done.
Yeah, he said thanks because he saw people...
So many orders.
Put in notes.
Hey, put in more orders. He's roasting tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. So I wanted to. We've been really enjoying. It's been a week now since we've been on vacation. We have one more week. It's been very nice.
Look, it does feel like vacation.
Took a couple days, and I'm sure other people experience this. It takes just a couple days just to even like unwind.
Yeah.
Before you can just start getting out of like your daily mindset and then just kind of enjoying your time.
Like getting out of work mode.
Yeah. We went to Park Slope and had kind of breakfast with a friend of ours.
Yes.
And she asked a question. She knows we sell on eBay, and she actually hears this podcast, so she might be hearing this. She asked us, like, why not just quit eBay? Because she's been hearing us talk about, like, our store's been slow, our helper... had to do other things, so he's not helping us anymore.
We have a coffee shop, we have Airbnb.
Yeah. Like, why even, and currently we are making more on these other things we've started, like our rentals.
Right.
And, like,
it's
why?
a good question, right?
Yeah.
We've asked ourselves that many times.
And here's my answer. If we end it, starting up again won't be easy.
Right.
And I've seen people do that. They come into our community and they talk about, I used to sell, full time in 2005.
Yeah,
and then, something happened and I, close it all down and now I want to start back up. And I'm not saying it's not possible.
Yeah.
But for me, we put so much time and effort into building like a system, this infrastructure. If you were to just to rip it all out, I don't know how easy it would be to start again.
If we wanted to, yeah.
I feel like the way it would work would be is that you just kind of end it all and then maybe you just sell one or two things here or there. Like it becomes like not even a hobby. It's more just like... selling
your own stuff.
Yeah,
or
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually don't even know how that would work. I mean, we have so many items. Like you would put something on Craigslist, like buy an entire... warehouse of stuff. I mean, that's what $5,000.
But that would, honestly, that would really be getting rid of it. It's not even that you're like, oh, I'm just going to hold on to this, and it's sort of like,
like, would we even?
That sounds like a lot of work too.
Like, would we even keep all of our items? Just take them off of eBay and then just, I don't know.
I don't know what we would do. It's like you said, our stuff is long tail and our stuff is list it and forget it. Yeah. So, granted, we forgot it and our customers forgot it too in the last month because, like, stuff was selling really slowly. But things have actually picked up even, I've been listing stuff.
Yeah, and we will talk about that. I think another thing is eBay was such a significant thing to discover for me. I know you were not a new person to eBay, but... to me, I've always found things and I never knew what to do with those things. And then when you were like, we could just sell this, it really just opened up the whole world. Right. I don't know what I would do walking down the street finding stuff if we didn't really have like a pipeline to throw it into. You know? Again, I guess I could just, do things one at a time, but it's nice having like a store, a pipeline to throw it into.
Yeah,
you know?
and make money. I mean, I think it's fun to find stuff and be able to find the person that wants it. That's always like kind of amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just look, I don't want to quit, but it's interesting to talk about it because I'm sure anyone that sells online, especially if they do it full time, has come to the point where they have to question themselves. Like, is this something I just want to keep doing?
Right, exactly. I mean, like, so we question ourselves all the time because in the last 3 months, actually, since we opened the coffee shop, I mean, we have had such a little time to do this that we've noticed it in our sales. And I know that it's not everyone, there are a lot of people on the forum saying it's the slowest I've ever seen it. Yeah. So it's not just us, but, it's tough when there's like a perfect storm there. You're not listing, you don't have a helper, and it's a slow, weird bubble burst from the pandemic happening.
So, like, Top Notch, who is on our forum, said eBay super slow for us. The last 90 days, we've only grossed $10,000, which had been about an average its month for the previous year.
Right.
So,
right.
There's been a lot more people at our beach and state parks here. Mm-hmm. We frequent the parks often, and it is unbearable on the weekends because I guess people are getting out.
Yes.
I'm confident this is just a natural backswing after everyone being cooped up.
Yep, for a year and a half.
And I have to remember too. I mean, I commented too. We have to remember we had a great summer of sales in 2020. Like last year when the pandemic hit, it kind of hit in late spring, and then summer was coming, and I just assumed it was going to be doubly slow. Yeah. When now I think about it, that's crazy. Instead, it's like summertime actually took off. Like,
it was crazy.
We didn't see, and so again,
and that's unusual for summer.
Yeah,
that's like unheard of. Right. So to think it's going to stay that way.
Yeah, and for those people, because not everyone's slow. I mean, there are a couple people who we know who their stores are just like doing great. And
which is great to hear.
That's awesome.
That makes me feel good because I'm like, okay, it's not everyone and it's not forever.
Yep. So NYC trash.
Yeah.
I think we could do a whole show on that. So
we have.
We take our evening walks, which we enjoy.
Yep.
New York street life is like
very
alive.
Colorful. Yes.
It's great, and we are finding actually a lot of stuff in the trash, but so much of it is big. Yeah. And it's unfortunate, like cool pieces of furniture or like homewares.
And we're just like, so yesterday we found, like we said, we were in Park Slope having breakfast with our friend, and a lot of people there will have stoop sales. So I bought a couple things just for myself, a couple like dresses. But a lot of people do this thing, and they used to do this in Boston where they're like free boxes, or even more minimal than the free box, along the gate outside their brownstone or their apartment. They just put clothes on the gate. It's just a dress, some leggings, a blazer. Like, just take this, and we have this shopping bag, and we filled that shopping bag like, designer leggings for jogging, and like little designer clothes for kids. I'm like,
Crocs.
We found some Crocs.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, so that's, which I love, and again, if we lived here, we're finding stuff where if we lived here, we could get this bigger stuff and we could probably flip it on Craigslist or use it.
Well, we found when you mentioned housewares and larger things, we found 2 IKEA wooden shelves. Yeah, we got on the subway with these like 2 shelves, which is so funny. People look at you funny, but at the same time, you're like, it's New York. Like, it's so wacky. But the good thing is I can take the brackets off the shelves, and I can I'm going to ship a box home, so it's fine. But
we went to a West Elm, which is like a kind of a mid-tier designer store.
It's pretty expensive.
And
I don't think I've ever bought anything new at West Elm.
And we know it's great because we know exactly where the cheap stuff is. They have
the sale, the clearance.
And we got this awesome wool rug for $100, like $99.
And wool rugs like that, like at West Elm,
5x9.
I mean, it's probably like $500 minimum new, right?
And something like that we put in one of our rentals, and it makes the rental feel like super luxe.
Yeah, because it's like an expensive, high quality material that's going to last. Well, it's so funny because our friends were still here when we got the rug. They looked at us so funny because like we were like, oh, we're going out for the afternoon. We'll see you guys before you go to the airport.
Yeah.
And we walk into the apartment with a rolled up rug, and they were like, what is that? We're like, we got it at West Elm.
Normally we wait till they're actually gone.
But they were still here.
And then in the front room, we start piling up all the stuff we find. And then before they come home,
we ship it home.
We ship it all home. But we started it a little early.
I'm going to ship that rug home. I think we talked about this.
Someone might ask, Ryan, how do you ship a 5x9 rug home?
Okay, so the beautiful thing is at West Elm, this was like so helpful. They rolled it up, they tied it, and they wrapped it in this like thick, clear plastic. It's like thicker than any Polly Miller I've ever used. So, and I think our friends also thought we were very peculiar because I pulled out an entire roll of packing tape out of my backpack.
Like, I wrote this.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm just going to tape it up more and put a shipping label on it. And they were like, okay.
So does that go from the post office or FedEx? You think?
I'm gonna have to honestly, like, I'm gonna have to measure it. I'm gonna tape it up. I'm gonna measure it. I usually have a luggage scale, but I didn't bring it with me, which is dumb. But
we're off our game.
Yeah, we're off our game in that. Well, we haven't traveled in like 2 years. I'm like, what's going on? But what I'll do is they have a scale, like a human scale where you weigh yourself. What's it called?
Human fat scale.
A weight scale. So I think it's heavy enough that if I put it on the scale by itself, I'll get an approximate weight and I'll just like round up from there.
So
probably FedEx or UPS.
But so just eyeballing it, do you think the size is okay?
Dimensional. So it's long, but it's not. I mean, it's probably like 7 inches by 7 inches by
like 5 feet
by like 60 inches,
right.
And I've shipped.
Cool.
I mean, I've shipped things like that. Yep. Like they look at you funny, but they're like, yeah, it's fine as long as you have the right label.
This
on
eBay
it.
business only exists, Ryan, because
I like to ship stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
You enjoy it and know how to do it.
As long as you carry it to wherever we're shipping.
I will carry things all
like. That makes it. We do have a cart. They do have a big, fat grocery cart, so that would help if I was doing it myself. But
I think that's where we're good partners, because when we saw it, you were like, "How are we going to get this home?" I was like, "Don't even."
I'm just going to put it on my shoulder.
I just put it on my shoulder, and we were walking down Broadway.
Well, it's so
with a big old rug.
It's so funny because this is a great story because West Elm I think is on 18th Street. And we're staying on 13th Street. So you're like, okay, it's not that far. But then it started to rain. Yeah. It was so funny. It was like right as we were walking in the apartment, it started downpouring. And we were like, oh my God.
Perfect timing.
And our friends were like, did you take a car? And we're like, no, we just carried it.
Yeah, of course.
It's good exercise, right?
But anyway, we are on the hunt for more stuff. I cannot, always enjoy going out in the evening time and looking at trash.
So the great thing is, New York, it's interesting. Sorry if this is like total tangent, but they have a plastic bag ban, which is amazing because there's no plastic bags like in trees and on the street and like everywhere.
It really does. Yeah. So
it makes a difference.
Like when you go to a store, they don't give you those. I think they call them t-shirt bags, or like you have like a shirt.
It
like
says
those,
thank you.
Yeah, those like just cheap plastic thin bags that can't get recycled. Those are not allowed at all.
Right.
And so
the reason I was saying that is like, our friends have a huge like bin of grocery bags, like really good sized grocery bags. So whenever we walk out, we both grab like a grocery bag in case we're gonna go to the grocery store because you kind of need them or they're gonna charge you.
And made out of vinyl.
It's a nylon. It's like nylon or vinyl or whatever. And so when we were in Brooklyn yesterday, it was perfect because we both had these like big bags, and we were like, oh, just like stuff it full, hop on the subway. Like it's so great. So
that's the way to do it.
It's very helpful because, when we're at home, we're in our car. So we just like throw stuff in the car. But here you're like, I got to carry this with me like until I get home at 4:00 today and take the subway 3 different places. So,
okay, let's look at our vacation numbers.
Yeah, so how's it?
I need to be very clear that these are numbers while we are on vacation.
Not shipping.
Not doing anything. Although we
I am listing.
We'll let's actually talk about that because that is important. We should not skip over this. So anyway, this past week we sold 16. We sold blah 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 15 items.
Okay,
but
it's not nothing.
We grossed $899.22. Not bad.
What?
Almost $900.
That's like better than
being on vacation.
That's great.
Making it rain. After everything, we made $741.30.
Look, I'm happy with that.
Hey, I'll take that.
I have my handling, or I have time away set for like shipping in like.
I mean that has paid for, because we get to stay here free. That has paid for more than all of our eating. Just training
whatever.
Fairs, yeah. So I'm into it, and it's cool. We were selling again. You listed.
I did list
when we were on the train, the Amtrak up here, and then one afternoon.
A couple afternoons I've been listing, or I'll wake up in the morning and you're like going to get bagels and coffee and whatever, which is great. I love to wake up to that.
Yeah.
Jay will text me, "Oh, what kind of coffee do you want?" I'm like, "This is awesome."
Yeah, right. Really
Although you do that at home at our coffee shops too, which is nice. But so I try in the morning to just like do, I look at the number of drafts / scheduled that I have, and I'm like, okay, let's get down to
it was like
this
150 when we started, right?
It was in the 200s.
Oh
it was
God.
like up right before we left. It was in the 200s. So
and I think you've done maybe 40 or something.
What is it now? Let's see. Let me look on my scheduled.
Yep.
I am at 105.
Whoa!
So I think it might have been a little under 200. I think I'm exaggerating the number. But I think I've listed maybe 70 to 80 items. Wow. Yeah, there were some days where I was like, I am getting to 150. I am getting to 120. Like,
so we're here till we leave next Saturday. So we about a week left. Your sister comes for 2 or 3 days, but
tomorrow,
it would be cool if we could get all those done before we leave.
Yeah, I mean, if I have some time this evening, I might try to just like get 15 done, just kind of. And so here's the other part of it too. Stuff has been selling.
Yeah.
So like some things that I'll list, I said, oh, I listed that, 2 days ago, and you're like, yes.
So stuff that sold that just got
that I got listed. So it's that whole theory of like the newest, greatest stuff does sell fast,
right.
And then it's like the medium tail, and then it's like the super long tail.
I do want to speak that out loud. Yeah. So the hypothesis that some of us have with those of us that have these like weird long tail stores is when you have 100 items that you put up,
right?
Even if they're weird items, there's always going to be like 10 or 20% of those items that actually aren't that long tail. That, it might be like a piece of like pottery or something.
Yeah.
But it's actually a wanted item.
Yeah.
So it's going to sell. It's within a month.
Someone has a search out for it.
And then there's stuff that might sell within a year. And then out of those 100, maybe there's like 30 to 40 of those items that might take
several years.
3, 4, 5 years. And so that's why the idea of if you're always putting stuff up, that's weird. And, that some of it is going to sell fast. And if you sit and just eat on your store without putting anything new, then it's going to slow down because so much of that stuff is, really long tail.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was a great explanation, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we figured that out pretty recently, where we're like, there's different tiers, levels of quality, or style of item.
So some of the things we sold, like talk about long tail, we had bought a lot of these like Japanese tea towels.
Yes,
these like really beautiful. And some of them had stained, but they had these beautiful prints on them.
Amazing,
a vintage
artwork.
And a woman bought $230.
Yeah,
worth of these like tea towels.
Yeah, and I've actually used them for artwork and some of because they're different sizes, and we've used them for artwork in some of our rentals because they're that gorgeous. They're like just made for using in the kitchen. But I also made curtains out of one.
Yep.
It's 3 panels, and I made curtains out of them at the cafe.
If you come to our cafe and go to the
restroom, you'll see them.
You'll see these beautiful vintage.
But it was just it's like things like that just make a space feel really unique. Yep. So I'm sure, well, I noticed it was 2 different sales, that one, where someone shopped our store, because these were different listings, like different combinations of like, this is a lot of 10, this is a lot of 3. Like she bought like 3 big listings. And then there was someone else, I forget what the items were, who also just like bought a bunch of, like a handful of things, which I wish happened more often in eBay, where someone's like, oh, I'm going to see what other cool things this person has and just buy from them.
I mean, I can't always blame eBay. Part of it might be just our store. I mean, we have
it's weird stuff.
But like, a woman bought 2 of these like sailing ship Holland blue Delft, like
little
makeup
boxes,
yeah.
And they were 2 different listings and 2 different...
Right.
Yeah, but it was a similar item, but she bought both of them.
We had a lot of 8 old, like, keys, like a brass skeleton keys.
Yeah, like Victorian skeleton
$70.
Keys. Yeah, no, those...
I'll take it.
Yeah, so I've sold those individually before, but some of them weren't as old as some others. So I was like, this is a cool lot. Like, people definitely buy old keys.
So talk about
funny.
Old for our store.
Yes.
We sold a trivet. It was like from Amsterdam.
From years
ago. We bought it
ago.
in like 2014.
Yeah.
7 years ago or something.
Right.
And
it's of the Queen.
It was just like a vintage, like 1980s coronation trivet. We've had it so long. You know, I bought it for €1 or something.
Yeah, €1.
It sold for $32.
Yeah, but it's so particular. It's like
years.
It's like Queen Beatrix in like 1980, and you're like, somebody who wants this is a very particular person, but there it is.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of cool.
But, you know, that's kind of like you list it and forget it and it sells.
Yeah, exactly.
And here we go.
I love that sale.
And that $30 is going to pay for a lunch we have, you know. Hey,
barely in New York.
So anyway, those are good things. And I'm glad you're...
Those are great sales.
Yep.
Well, you know, so we get home on a Saturday. I'm really going to have to pack stuff for Sunday, you know.
Speaking of, we want to thank a couple people on our forum who told us about an error we had made.
Yes.
We put our store in the time away.
Yeah.
But we also changed the handling time. And those things multiplied our
It doubled our handling time.
Yeah, so instead of it just being away for 2 weeks, it was like away for like a month. So we fixed that.
I fixed that. I changed my handling time and my business policies back to normal. Like, I was also super confused about this whole like time away versus handling time. I was like, I'm just going to do both. I don't know what's going on. I kept the time away because I like the banner up top. I've always liked that banner because it's nice when someone's like, why haven't you shipped this? And you're like, well, if you look on the listing, there's a banner. And they're like, oh, cool, no problem. So that's helpful. But yeah, it was like, this will not ship until August 28th. I was like, oh God, no wonder nothing's selling.
But I mean, things were still
Things were still selling.
But
it was the middle of the week.
I always
like,
to remind people, like, it is just, you know, maybe things don't sell as often, but people still buy. If you have stuff that people want, collectors, like, they will wait.
So I sold 2 things on Bonanza, which do not have time away. Or I'm sure you can do it on Bonanza, but I'm like, whatever. And I messaged both of them to be like, hey, I'm away until, you know, August 1st or whatever. And they're like, sure, no problem. You know, like, people are just like, this is a unique enough item that is fine. Bonanza.
Yeah.
I know.
Bamboozle.
It used to...
I always love it. What's it called?
They did not own the URL bonanza.com because whoever owned that had it. So they were
Bonanzal.
For years, right. Even though they were called Bonanza, but it was Bonanzal.
Bonanza.
I'm pretty sure. And finally, they were able to acquire that URL.
I wonder if they're like a real company with a real big office building and like a lot of employees, or if it's just like
idea.
A small business where it's just like 3 dudes.
No clue. I mean, I see things on Bonanza when I log in to like ship stuff. I'll see like blog posts by Carolyn in the, communications department. And you're like, is that one of the 5 people that work there? Or are there like 100 people that work there? Yeah. I have no idea. Yeah.
I will say, because we're on vacation, I think our buyers know this. We've had no customer issues. We have
no customer
complaints,
issues.
No like weird questions, no returns.
I just haven't shipped anything. So. Yeah. But yeah, so let's go to the calls. You can email us at a voicemail audio file. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com, or you can call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Hey guys, this is Shay, just from Michigan. I was wondering, I think you've answered this question before, but I can't remember the answer, and it's probably been long enough where it will be helpful for people to hear what kind of storage containers you're using in your like mini warehouse that you've built. I've experimented with all kinds of different stuff. Right now I'm kind of on a milk crate kick where I have mostly smaller stuff. Some stuff doesn't fit in them, but I just I don't have a lot of space, and I can stack those pretty high, and it's nice to be able to kind of consolidate things into those, particularly items that I haven't yet gone through and listed. Those death piles, are a little bit more orderly if they're stacked in these crates, and stuff can kind of hang out of them a little bit, so they're not super restrictive either. So yeah, just figured I'd ask. Thanks.
I mean, I think really it depends on what kind of inventory you have. If you're trying to be super like careful about stuff and the items can't really be exposed to the air and bugs, so you should probably have those like sealable plastic bins.
Yeah, that's basically what we use.
And we have a lot of those, but honestly, we don't have a top on a lot of
them. We don't have a top because, well, okay, so we used to have tops on them. So I don't know what quart size they are, or whatever. They're Rubbermaid.
Ones,
yeah, they're huge ones, but then there's the half size. We also have the half, because we actually do have a lot of big weird items. And just as a side note, so we have a lot of things in those bins, and most everything is in a plastic bag as well. Right. But we also have several shelves where stuff is just on the shelves. Like, it's bulky enough that you're like, this is just on shelf 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D.
Because they're big just and bulky and won't fit in bins.
Yeah.
We also have shelves where it's just, a flat shelf, and we just have
ceramics,
plates, and and it's all just kind of piled up on
but
each other.
But I find stuff. I mean, it's a small enough shelf that you're like, if you get your flashlight on your phone out and you're like scanning everything, you're like, there it is.
But I've seen people post photos of their storage, and it might be in their basement, and they sell a lot of clothes, and they will put their clothes in plastic bags,
right, like a
and
Ziploc.
Then they put them in a plastic bin that's
with a
like
number,
a locking top,
right.
So it's not exposed to like humidity and everything.
Now, in terms of clothing, which is different than objects, clothing and shoes, we have in temperature controlled building on racks.
Right.
So like men's coats, I have so many men's coats. I'm like, I don't even know how I'm like categorizing them at this point.
We had a workman come into this building to do fix something, and it happens every time we have like a stranger come into this building. They walk in, and it looks like you're in a thrift store.
Yeah, it looks like all these racks of clothes and shoes.
It's like 500 square feet of just racks of clothes, of old vintage clothing.
Well, it's just so funny because whenever we tell people we sell stuff online, I mean, they're just like, oh, you have like a little hobby business. And then they go into that building. And then when they go into the back warehouse, they're like, what? Somebody came into the back warehouse recently. I forgot who it was. It was someone like helping us move a piece of furniture or something. Like we took a big couch out of our rental and they were just like, it was like they didn't even know what they were looking at. They were just like, what? Am I even? What is all this? It was so funny, but So to answer your question, small items I think are great in milk crates. Milk crates are awesome. We use them at the coffee shop like crazy, to move stuff around and to store stuff.
But for us, our shelves, we have really deep shelves. Yeah. So those big, long plastic bins are perfect because then we can just pull them off.
Yeah. They're like Rubbermaid or like Sterilite brand. You can get them at Walmart or at Lowe's or something.
Honestly, a lot of them, I'm sure like a lot of people, if you go to an auction and buy a table lot, and oftentimes they'll come with plastic bins that don't have tops, and we're like, hey, I mean,
whatever,
that's an extra $5 bill, you know?
I mean...
Hey, Jay and Ryan. I've seen where coffee bean prices have been increasing quite a bit. I was wondering if you guys have seen that. Maybe you have different sources and how you're reacting to it. Thanks.
Okay, this man speaking my language. Yeah. So I have been talking to our partner about this. He buys the green beans for us, Phil, and I've been reading these articles too about like just everything going up.
Yeah, just
commodity,
pandemic,
steel, aluminum, you know,
coffee beans,
uranium, coffee beans.
Uranium.
And so I've been asking him, how are we dealing with this?
Yeah.
And so we've actually been buying more than we need.
Yeah.
Because coffee beans can sit for a year and still be, fresh.
Yeah, because they're sealed. They're not, so there are some that are just sitting in burlap, but a majority of them are in like airtight plastic inside the burlap. Right. So it's very well sealed.
So we've actually been buying more than we need.
Right.
And mainly not just for the price, but also my fear is there's a problem. Shipping problem, hard to get a truck to come and bring it to us.
For whatever reason.
I'm saying, so we've agreed like we should have 3 months of coffee beans in our
little warehouse.
In our small warehouse at any one time. So if, things went south again because of whatever, this crazy world, we could still be serving coffee for 3 months.
Now, I do want to clarify that there are ways to what we call contracting coffee. So what you do is you have your distributor, which our distributor is in New York City / New Jersey, and we have our contracts, in quotes, stored at their warehouse. So we have pre-ordered at a preset price X kind of coffee for X amount of time. Right. This year's harvest of XYZ coffee is sitting in their warehouse waiting for us to say, okay, pull that pallet, send it to us. So there is that. Now the worry is coffee getting to them and prices when they get it. There are certain coffees that are hard to get because it's hard to get to the United States from Africa or from South America or whatever. So you kind of have to like shift what you are able to provide depending on so many different factors, including shipping, climate change, someone had a drought during their,
or how these,
season.
I think a lot of us are waiting how a lot of these small coffee farms have been affected by the pandemic.
Right.
They're in areas that are not getting the vaccine and, who knows?
Right.
For instance, we have one coffee, we sell 10 kinds of coffees. We can't buy in one of them right now.
So we're substituting Burundi. Right. It's hard to get Burundi right now because it's all
sold out.
It's all sold out because it's an amazing coffee, but they had some harvest problems. I think that's what it was. So that affects you like 6 months to a year later.
But to his specific point, and Phil would probably be able to answer this better than I can. Because we're buying based on the contract price we agreed to earlier in the year. I don't know when the new contract period starts, and then Phil, signs a contract, and if those prices are going to be higher. So
the other thing too is, you can try to find other coffees from the same region. You don't have to buy this exact coffee every time, which you try to because you want consistency because of the flavor. But you work with your distributor to say, I need something that tastes like this and roasts like this. Send us samples so we can make sure it's like what we have. So it is a very complex commodity. So we're all just kind of learning this as we go. But yes, true. Everything, all commodities right now, whether it's lumber or, like you said, minerals or coffee, is on a wild ride for sure.
All right, that is it for calls and questions and stories, which we always enjoy hearing what's going on out there with other people. I will say, as far as coffee goes, please, if you want to support us, buy our coffee.
Leave a note that says you're a scavenger.
And where do they buy it?
broadporchcoffee.com.
Yep.
And if you're in our area, you should visit our coffee shop. We have new things on the menu right now. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it's fun to see our other partner, Jill. She's like in charge of our food. She's experimenting with... Now that we've been open for 3 months.
Yep.
And we've kind of got a solid ground and kind of like we kind of got a system going. She's now experimenting with new things on our food menu. So if you're here,
very fun.
Or here in Luray, which we're not right now, try some new things. But yeah, please buy some coffee.
Okay. This podcast is ending in 3, 2, 1.
Bye.
Bye.